Okay, good morning and welcome to another webinar with the Long Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is Jeremy Harris, the President and CEO of the Long Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. And this morning we've got a great webinar and a continued webinar programming that we continue to push out for all of our members and the greater Long Beach area business community. But before I get to that, just a quick couple of updates at the Chamber. We want to continue to direct your attention to our COVID-19 resource page that you can be found on lbchamber.com. Really encourage you to take a look at that. Everything from webinar series like you're going to see today to some economic assistance around grants and loans, both public and private funding, along with the latest health orders of who's open and who's open with modified protections in terms of the health orders go. So lots of information there. The team at the Chamber is ready to help. So if we can be assistance, please reach out again, lbchamber.com. Also, a couple of housekeeping items for today's webinar. It is being recorded, so if you have to leave early or you show up late, we'll have this in our webinar series library, and we'll be sending this out to all of the folks registered this morning, along with the Greater Long Beach Area Chamber membership. So with that, I'd be remiss if you've got questions, let's hang on to those to the end, but you can certainly queue them up in the Q&A chat. So use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen if you're on a desktop. If you're on a mobile device, you can find it under options. There's also a chat feature that if you've got questions throughout regarding this webinar or other things that the Chamber or our partner here at Environ are doing, please put them in the chat. But if you've got a question particularly about this presentation, please use that Q&A function at the bottom there. So we appreciate you again joining us this morning. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our two presenters this morning. Both Alan Burks and Willetta McCullough. Willetta is a commercial interior designer and co-owner of Environ Architect with Alan Burks, who's also an architect and a founder of Environ. Environ has been located in the downtown Long Beach for 28 years. They and their staff provide commercial architecture and interior design services for diverse project types, including commercial office, tenant development, retail, light industrial, government, and municipalities. Willetta originally comes to us from Southern Illinois and was educated at Southern Illinois University. While Alan comes to us from Chicago and was educated at the University of Illinois. Both of them are very active in the community, serve on various boards, including Willetta serving our very own Women's Business Council, and on their board, while both Alan and Willetta are and serve in various community organizations such as the LBA, Cultural Heritage, and the Long Beach Rotary Club. With that, it's a pleasure to introduce both of them and turn over the presentation to both Willetta and Alan. Take it from here. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thank you, Jeremy. We have enjoyed, my down button's not working. We have enjoyed membership with Long Beach Chamber of Commerce for many years, and they've supported us in many ways. So we certainly do appreciate that. Let's see if I've got this. Here we go. Again, this is us. We actually are neighbors with the Chamber. We're across the street. And this is our front entrance up here, and that's our view across the street and our office. And, to further tell you about what we are about, we're an integrated practice of architecture, urban design, interior architecture, landscape, and branding design. And we seek to transform organizations, no matter what they are, large or small, and communities through meaningful designs that promote prosperity, innovation, and well-being. And at this time of great uncertainty, no matter what it is, social, physical health, economically, it's a very uncertain time. So if we can relieve the pressure of something and do something that you can count on and control, that is why we've developed the post-quarantine safe workplace program. But we all know that change is definitely inevitable, and it doesn't have to hurt as much if you think and plan a little bit ahead. And we're happy to offer a path that will forever change your company to be more ready for changes. And So we want you to be ready to go when the time comes to open for business to the new normal. And resilience is so important. If you can bounce back from the blows of economics and all of the things that happen out there not under your control, you get control and then you're ready to go whenever the flu season comes, which is upon us. Get your flu shot. And also to minimizing your continued exposure to COVID-19 as long as it lasts. Revenue. Being ready and resilient means that your company will be more resistant to absenteeism caused from somebody getting sick from the flu and having to stay home, or from COVID-19, and you have to shut down your business, wait the quarantine period. So that's a huge blow to many companies. And whether your business is big or small, we can offer you some relevant solutions to keep your business resistant to COVID and flu and be ready to go. And we use our technical resources, our engineers, even our clients who are in the healthcare or the health field, who are working closely with the CDC to keep their public that they serve healthy. We work with them. And then we also have strategic alliances with our suppliers and manufacturers so that you get the equipment you need as soon as you can. Through this process, we looked at all of the elements that we can think of that go into making your business healthier. And these 7 factors will help you be ready to go. And I'm starting from macro to micro, working from the outside in, following the path of travel of someone who's going to be coming into your business, whether they are a visitor or a staff member. So starting at the door, you want to ask your landlord, what are they doing to mitigate COVID or flu or disease coming into their building? Are they doing temperature checks? Are they doing the health checks and interviews? How often are they cleaning? What are they doing? Are they changing filters on the HVAC system throughout the building? That could be an expensive change, but the filters that they normally use are MERV 13. That's what most HVAC systems are set up as. But what you want to do is filter smaller particles, which are the COVID side microbes, and go to MERV 13. So the bigger the number on your filter, the smaller the particles that will be filtered out. So you might want to check with that and work with your property manager if you have a building that is multi-floored or there's more than 1 or 2 businesses in your building. Then we look at your business. If we're doing a project for you, we would look at your unique business and see how you operate and see how you work. Every business is unique and different. So that's going to be important to figure out. We need a plan. But all of this you could do yourself, but it is labor intensive, takes time away from your business that you want to focus on. So going to your main entrance, we provide a location and a path of travel that people are going to be coming in, where you're taking temperatures if your building hasn't already done it, doing the questions about have you had this or that, or a place for you to do those interviews if your building isn't already doing it. And then we look at the way your layout works, and you would want to do this for yourself, and try to make sure your corridors are one-way traffic. Hopefully you can do that. Otherwise, you might want to widen your corridor if you can, or put up plexi panels between the corridor and the people who are working in open areas. So that's important, to try to keep that 6-foot distance, to try to keep people from sharing their microbes as they pass each other in the corridors. in high traffic areas. Then we look at our common areas. That includes our corridors, but it also includes our toilets. It includes the kitchen. It includes toilets. I already said that, but it includes those areas, or even conference rooms and group seating areas for informal conferences. You want to look at those areas and put up the signage to redirect traffic, to minimize the number of people in a certain area. You want to put up, you want to make sure people are moving through the space as easily as possible. And then we look at work areas. How closely are they arranged? We need the 6-foot distance or more. And it helps to put up plexi panels or panels between workstations in order to keep from sharing microbes as you breathe them in and out. Hopefully you're not breathing them in. So that's what social distancing and work distancing is going to be important to do. And finally, we look at human resources. I mean, this is where your human resources department or personnel need to really think about how they can change the behavior of the people who work in your space, to train them to not go down a corridor if it's a one-way corridor. Don't go the wrong direction. Wash your hands often and provide that equipment for them to sterilize their hands, to wear a mask. I wear a mask for you and you wear a mask for me, showing common respect for each other. Let's see, is there anything I've missed on that? You need to, include in your work manual, your employee manual, things that support the changes that you're making. So I think with that, it concludes all of the areas, but Alan, did I leave anything out? Are there any points I should have made for everyone?
Yes, one thing that's very important is that you'll have to have a sort of new user's manual for your space and indoctrinate your employees on how they have to use the space and have some way of enforcing it. There will always be someone who wants to go back to the old way and wants to sort of approach an employee without wearing a mask. They may not do it intentionally, but it's just force of habit. So we need to create new habits for everyone. And it takes 2 weeks to indoctrinate a habit. So somebody needs to enforce all of these rules for at least 2 weeks so that everyone gets used to the way they use the space. In other words, the break rooms are going to have to be scheduled. You can't just walk into the break room whenever you like to get a cup of coffee.
So you might have to wait your turn.
Yeah, you'll have to wait your turn, or maybe a good idea that some of our clients are using is they're getting day porters who will actually bring coffee to employees or bring drinks or bring things to employees at their desk. And these day porters are wearing PPE and they control the break room.
And they do high touch point cleaning as well. And I would say that, as we're interior designers and architects, the question has come up, why is an architect and interior designer talking about human resources? It's because our environment is about the human space and we all behave like humans. So we have to understand the psychology of how people use the space, what the next thing they might do so that we can keep them safe. From here, I'll move on to the next slide. And, you think of us as doing aesthetic architecture and interior design, but first we have to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our clients. And we understand the products that we use, we understand how they are put together, what that impact of the design would be on the people who use the space. So these measures that we put together are based on CDC, the California government, our county, city measures, and our engineering partners. And we've also looked at ASHRAE and our client, Haluna Health, and also the BOMA, which is a Business Office Management Association. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but anyway, that's who we use. And if you have questions after this, we will take questions, but if you have questions, we're certainly willing and looking forward to having a call from you to ask us questions. No risk to call us. I'll be glad to answer anything, and so will Alan. But if you are thinking of doing this, we'd like to offer a discounted price to suit your needs for design services. And actually, you know, with any problem, planning, strategy, and action are the only ways to move forward in the face of today's adversities. And so, as we say here in the slide, there's no time like today. We're invested in your success. And when you thrive, we thrive. So we're constantly looking out there to see what technological improvements there are, what the trends are in the way people behave in society, changes in code and science. So we're happy to bring what we learn to our community. So thank you so much for the time that you've spent doing this. I hope it helps you out. And if you want to refer to our 7 core practices or factors in being safe, go to the website for the Chamber and have a look. I'm going to turn that over to you, Jeremy, please.
Great. Willetta, thank you so much. And thank you, Alan. Some more housekeeping here. Willetta and Alan, can we send this slideshow out to our participants? Okay, to share that? Perfect.
Yes.
So when we do a recording here and we send everything out today in terms of our participants, we'll include the slideshow. So we appreciate that. As a reminder, if you've got a question, please hit the Q&A button. I've got a couple queued up here for both you and Alan. So I'll let you guys fight over the question. But a quick one here is, in your opinion, what are the must-dos that a company or an organization has to do right away if they're going to bring back their employees in terms of their office space? I know you covered 7, areas that maybe it takes a little more time to get to where they should be. But what are some of the must-dos they should be doing right away?
Right. Well, I would say that looking at your layout of your office and have a look at your workstations, how people are situated. Make sure that if you can't get them 6 feet apart, to put a barrier between them so that their breath doesn't go back and forth. Alan, do you have any other suggestion?
I would suggest phasing the reopening.
Yes.
Bringing a few people back at a time. Definitely a must-do is triage. You have to have someone at the front door taking everyone's temperature as they come in, making sure that they're wearing a mask. And if anybody looks like they're ill, they need to be sent home. They cannot come into the office if they have a runny nose or sniffly or, so I think the most important thing to do in the beginning is the triage, taking temperature, checking for illness as they walk through the door.
Right. No, appreciate that. And along those same lines, you talked about the plexiglass and, some of those other barriers, if you will. Again, based on what you guys are seeing and you've been in this office environment in terms of creation of space for quite a while, do you think plexiglass barriers, the 6-foot distancing, is this here to stay for a long time now in the office culture moving forward?
Well, I think it's here to stay for the next, till at least we get a vaccine for COVID. But also, this is, I really believe that COVID and the flu may be here to stay. We just deal with it like we do every season. And unless they go away significantly, I think these barriers are going to remain. But, as in with the Spanish flu of 1918, as humans, we become complacent. And, the next generation doesn't quite remember it the same way the first generation that experienced it. So, epidemics come and go, but they will always come back every so many years. So I think most of these measures are going to remain, like hands-free faucets, not using the blowers because the blowers spread it around. Things like that will be staying, that are permanent installations and that do help out.
Great, appreciate that. Alan, anything to add on that?
Well, I think that the fiscal barriers are going to stay for a while, because once you've made the investment, it's going to be there. But let's face it, we're human beings. We're very gregarious animals. We like to hug people. We like to shake hands. So
Right.
I think once we do have a vaccine and COVID is basically behind us, I think we'll go back to acting the way we did pre-COVID. And I do want to mention one thing about the barriers. Plexiglass is in very short supply, as we're finding out. So, you're not going to be able to buy plexiglass and have things installed tomorrow. It's going to take, at this point, it takes at least 6 weeks to get plexiglass barriers in place because, as you know, everyone's buying plexiglass and it's very difficult to locate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a great point, because that's kind of where I was going next, that if this is going to be a little bit, because obviously companies, organizations are investing to make these changes. But that you point out a great point as well, that, if you're planning to come back in the next month or two, now is the time to start doing that, because you've got to make these orders. You've got to contact these vendors that may or may not have them in stock right now. And you've got a little bit of a ramp up time, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. One thing you said, Alan, that was pretty intriguing when it came around to, maybe break rooms. You talked about day pourers. You're seeing this, new culture, if you will, or maybe it's not new. It's maybe going back to maybe how we used to see in an office environment in the 50s and 60s. It's kind of coming back, but more for a purposeful reason in terms of health and safety. Are there any other things you're starting to see recurring that companies and organizations need to start instituting? I wrote down the day pourer and the break room schedules because I thought that was pretty intriguing in terms of maybe something that companies would forget about that they need to do. Is there something else out there like that?
Well, we're seeing private offices come back. We've, as architects and designers, we've spent the last 10 years trying to make spaces more user-friendly, more collaborative, and now we're going back to the old way where, nobody is doing the desking environments that were so popular, where, people are sitting at desks opposite each other. That's disappeared. So, companies are going to need more space for the same number of employees.
Great point. Great point. So the trend for the last 10 years, like you said, has been that co-working space, the sharing of desks, the desking, as you said. And now we're trending back towards those individual offices. But you also made a fair point about it's the same space, less people probably, because you need more space for those same amount of employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're also seeing one firm has taken the same amount of square footage, but they are alternating their work schedule. And they save that desk for the person who's out for that week, and they come back to the same desk. So they're using the same amount of square footage, but less people in the space at the same time. And then another company has found out that their 600-person office space can be a 300-person office space. And so, actually using 300 people working remotely in their office at home, and then they switch out. So everybody's found a very unique way to deal with this process.
Yeah, that's great points, and I know you guys are the experts in this field, so we appreciate your sharing your time today. Before I wrap up and give you guys kind of a 1-minute closing, if you will, any last tips or anything you want to let our viewers know about the new office space and what they need to do. I just want to remind everybody, if you've got any questions regarding this topic, other webinars the Chamber's putting on, please let us know at the Chamber. Chamber staff is available to answer any of those, and we get you connected with our right partners, our members, to assist you with that. So before we close up today, last kind of points, both from you, Willetta and Alan, that you want to leave our viewers with?
Well, if you're working at home, there will be a tax, not a rebate, but a discount on your taxes for up to $5,000 if you are improving your home office in order to work at home. So desks that go up and down, so that you can sit and stand, computers, chairs, things that help you be more productive during the COVID time. So individually, if you can afford to do that, I would say do that so that your body remains healthy while you're sitting at home working 10 hours a day.
Great. Very good. Alan?
Well, I'd say if you are considering bringing people back to the office within the next 2 months, you really need to start thinking about it now. You need to start planning today, getting organized, getting the materials that you need in place, getting the vendors to construct the plastic partitions, and putting the whole program in place, because it all takes time, and it takes more time now because there are scarce resources.
Good points. So there you heard it. Tax breaks if you're upgrading your home, or you need to start planning to bring your employees back, start now, because it's going to take a little bit. So Willetta, Alan, thank you for your time this morning. Thanks for presenting on this important topic. Again, we'll include this in our library of webinars so people can come back and take a look, and then we'll be sending this all out to the folks registered here and to our membership. So with that, I'd like to say thank you once again. Thanks for your time this morning. Thanks to Amanda Donahue in our office to help with the information behind the scenes, and also to Connor McCullough as well. So thank you so much. We'll be seeing you guys again soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Great day.